Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Dawn Melanie. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of my series, Managing Self, where I have the opportunity to share with you, the listeners, various experiences of how I daily continue to take charge of my multiple sclerosis, thus the name, Managing Self. I'm pleased that I've been afforded this opportunity to explain just how and what I have used and that I still use to successfully manage multiple sclerosis for over the past 19 years, managing with what I deem as key elements. These elements are fitness, food, family, friends, and fun. Basically, me managing myself, managing me. Now, first of all, I want to share with you a status update of last week's physical therapy session. Basically, I can sum it up in 2 words, or using 2 words. Those 2 words are cha-ching, cash register. Anyway, no, everything hasn't been corrected, nor has it been resolved, but I am making quantitative forward progress towards my goals. These goals are to be able to consistently stand. Yeah, stand like an average person. I mean, feet no more than shoulder distance apart, standing on both feet with my eyes opened or standing with my eyes closed. Most importantly, stand without falling. That's one of my goals. So I was quite pleased with myself when I retested on the drills that the therapist and I went over the prior week. 2 weeks ago, on my first visit, I learned that I wasn't very efficient in standing from a seated position, from sitting down, then standing up. I don't recall the exact number attained. We did a time trial thingy, in 30 seconds. I don't remember the exact number that I attained the first time, but last Friday, I know that I did more. I did more sit, stand, stand repetitions, and they were all done properly without wobbling. I maintained my balance throughout the drill. And like I said, more than the number that I achieved on my initial assessment was achieved on this most recent assessment last Friday. So I feel good about that. I still have MS, and I still have the challenges with my connections, with the damaged myelin over the nerves. But with focus and understanding my body, I'm learning that even though I have these challenges, I can still definitely, I can and I have definitely honed in on my sit to standing skills. And I even passed with flying colors the challenge or test of, while standing, bending forward so that my torso is parallel to the floor. Basically, how far can you reach while firmly standing in place? So just bending over, kind of attaining a 45-degree angle? Yeah, like that. Basically, so your head is bent over, your torso is, again, parallel to the floor. For me, this was actually an easier one, piece of cake for me. Basically felt like I was simply stretching to get ready to do some deadlifts. Perhaps it was easy for me because, I think it was easy for me because I was applying the methods to which I was made aware of during my initial assessment. With that being said, I got better results working smarter, not harder. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, the physical therapist assessed very quickly when shortly after she had met me. She assessed that I was strong, and when I performed these tests like standing and picking up a leg or something like that, trying to maintain or maintaining any sort of balance, she knows how I was using pretty much so many muscles. I was using like all of my muscles. Well, like most of my muscles, my tendons, my ligaments needed for successful balance, as far as I'm concerned. Now, a little background on me is I've been weightlifting for over 27 years. I competed for 10 years, and consequently, I've developed some pretty good strength in my legs, specifically the largest one in the, or specifically the largest muscle in the front of my thigh, quadricep, and the one in the back of the thigh, my hamstring. So naturally, it made sense. For the past almost 20 years that multiple sclerosis has been affecting my balance and my walking, I've been relying primarily on my trained big muscles, quadriceps, hamstrings, more or less ignoring the real challenge, my challenge, proprioception. Proprioception is the relative position of one's own body and strength of effort being employed in movement. Cognitive awareness of your body's position in space, spatially. Okay, I got it, right? I just have to think more. That's it, right? Well, I thought I had maxed out on the therapy's marginal utility. I was back for the second appointment, but didn't think I'd really get any additional benefit from being there that day, or really any day in the future. Of course, I was wrong. She soon had me attempt to stand on one leg at a time. And these attempts were repeated not once, not twice, but thrice. 3 times they were repeated. And to my dismay, the durations of the time that I successfully stood there, balanced, was, I don't know, kind of it was disappointing. I repeated, to get a viable average of my performance level. And like I said, disappointingly, I was well below the average capability of persons of my age, 45 years old. But, I'm like going, really, I can't stand on one leg. But it's kind of ironic because it actually made me respect my dad that much more. My daddy is 84 years young, and I witnessed him in his gym class standing there balanced, seemingly effortless, where here I am struggling. Yeah, I'm struggling because, well, I have MS. He is elderly, but, I'm looking at it like, man, my MS is taking a toll on me greater than, the natural aging effects on the human body. But so be it. Anyway, it got worse because I remember I thought I was about done with this physical therapy stuff. Sure, it helped me in 2010, 8 years ago, but okay, I learned how to walk back then. I overcame my drop foot. Now I know how to stand. Use what I got. When I say use what I have, I mean all of my everything that I have, not just my quads or hams, or tightening my torso and making unnecessary tension in my body, but applying adequate tension in my knees and not using the entire surface of my feet, heel to ball, not leaning toward either side, and most importantly, I appreciated something that actually I already knew. I remembered from 11th grade physics class, as long as your center of gravity is more or less above your feet, your body will always be balanced and you won't tip over. I remember that and know that each time I perform a deadlift, I'm always conscious of that. I'm always conscious of where my relative approximate center of gravity is, my personal center of gravity, which is roughly where my stomach is. By knowing this and always remembering it, that's how I achieved 265-pound deadlifts and squats without falling over, without a spotter. But those are two exercises performed without moving my feet. Feet were maintained at a steady stance throughout. And besides standing, my other goal, my other reason for being at therapy was to walk. Movement, maintaining balance, and be fall free while doing so. I asked, and looked like I was about to receive. I was going to get the tools, have them explained to me so that I could understand how and when to use them properly to achieve my second goal, the walking. Like the standing dilemma, or I think it's more proper to say the standing challenge, I was given the scoop on the walking challenge, my walking challenge. Let's recap proprioception. Proprioception regards your body's balance or position. It's the sense of the body's strength of effort being employed in movement. Well, kinesthesia, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Kinesthesia focuses on behavioral movement. It's a sensation of movement or strain in muscles, tendons, and joints, basically muscle sense. With the ability to teach yourself how you should move to successfully complete whatever task that's at hand, that's effectively using kinesthesia. Okay, I got it. So let's just say that I'm getting it. Okay, I don't have it, but I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to own it. I'm trying to make my own dog, the standing, the walking. Basically to have a more controlled, dynamic, fluid motion when I'm walking. While doing so, definitely not fall again because of the result of a lack of balance or bad proprioception. Pretty much like the incident that occurred last month. I fell backwards because of my poor kinesthesia. And with the very evident accidental fall, I couldn't play it off. I couldn't act like it didn't happen, as if I was in control, because I definitely was not in control. It was very evident during my therapist's observations of my attempts to walk a straight line with my, lack of control. At this point, me walking on a straight line is pretty much still impossible. But I have made progress in the past 4 days. Since my therapy session, I made 3 consecutive steps successfully in a straight line. No wobbling or anything like that. So 3 steps, that's pretty good. That's from 0 to 3. That's a pretty good improvement. Basically, walking a straight line is no longer a pipe dream for me. Hopefully I'll maybe be able to do, who knows, a couple of feet walking. Walking and chewing gum, well, I'm working on that too. Okay, actually, my homework assignment was to walk while looking around, not so much focus straight ahead or looking down at my feet, but to literally walk, and while doing so, kind of, casually look to my left and my right every now and then, as if I'm, or like, as, how when you're talking to someone in conversation, you look at them. Well, that's a challenge for me to see if I can maintain my balance while walking and be able to not rely on my vision so much. That was my homework assignment. So I still think it's funny, but the therapist notes, she literally said, be nosy, walk and look around. So, okay. I have MS, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that my neurologist suggested that I revisit a physical therapist. This time at my physical therapist, this time 8 years ago, I was at my physical therapist for walking. I was using my cane. My walking was very compromised, and I had severe drop foot. Now, last Friday, I told my therapist about, my current therapist, I told her about my walking, how I've been, doing my walking pretty much almost every day, my daily walks. And I noticed that my left foot in a straight line, my right foot, not so much. Even though I'm being more conscious of my balance and, making sure, where my center of gravity is and all these things, I just don't get it. Like my foot is just kind of, right one is throwing outward at about a 45-degree angle, whereas the left one is in a straight line. So she asked me to walk so she could observe my walk. So I proceeded to walk. I walked at a slow pace, very deliberate, and then at a quicker pace, increased my speed so she could see the differences there or any similarities. And with that brief period of observations, she made a speculation because I say speculation because this is only her second time seeing me as a patient. We don't have like this really long background or history together. So with these two visits, she, in that observation of my walking, she speculated that I was experiencing something like drop foot. That's interesting. And she goes, what do you mean that's interesting? I said, well, it's interesting because exactly 8 years ago, I was at physical therapy for my walking, and I had right foot drop foot. I had, like I said, I hadn't told her this before, but it was interesting that she picked up on that, and I was like, huh. So at least I know. I know why my right foot is consistently behaving as such. I'm also glad that it's okay that I'm actually confident walking quicker, and I can do so pretty decently in a straight line, more so than walking slower. And I think because slower, you have more time to think about it. But she has a suggestion for that, and I'll get to that later. Let's review the differences between proprioception and kinesthesia. Proprioception is the unconscious perception of movement and spatial orientation arising from stimuli within the body itself. In humans, these stimuli are detected by nerves within the body, as well as by the semicircular canals of the inner ear. It's the ability to sense stimuli arising within the body regarding position, motion, and equilibrium. Even if a person is blindfolded, it's the sense of the relative strength, the position of neighboring parts of the body, and the strength or effort being employed in the movement. Now, kinesthesia is the awareness of the position and the movement of the parts of the body by means of sensory organs and the muscles and joints. Again, movement, balance versus movement. The perception of the movement of one's own body, its limbs, its muscle, etc. The word kinesthesia strictly means movement. Let's switch gears. Courage. Courage is defined as the ability to face our fears. Now, September 2002, almost 16 years ago, I faced my fear of putting myself on display to be critiqued by judges, to be viewed by hundreds of spectators, later by thousands of spectators, to stand and to walk in heels, just fully aware that to do this, knowing I have MS and that I have some challenges. Now, last week I realized that my undaunting courage has not been dampened with the added adversaries, of MS, the things that's thrown my way, but my courage actually has been magnified. I can stand still, but now with less effort, thus less fatiguing my muscles, and with less likelihood to fall. And now I am again learning how to walk the same with less effort, but more effectively. I was kind of sitting here thinking about this episode, and I was like, man, It's funny because I remember I was featured in the Oxygen magazine in 2007, and I I was quoted about my embarrassment. I used to be embarrassed about my biceps. Thought they were kind of huge, you know. And then I was really bummed about my. Well, back then I said I wasn't. But in the olden days, like the '90s, I was embarrassed by my biceps, and later I was proud of them because people are, it was one of my more prominent features that people admire. Then I was like, I was really bummed about my feet. After 2 bunionectomies, it's like, my goodness, my proper shoe size is now a 9.5, and I'm only 5'4". I told my husband, I don't think that's average. I think it's kind of weird. Anyway, I have big feet. Well, knowing that these larger feet of mine actually afford me this larger surface area for which my center of gravity is to be above, speaking strictly above for the laws of physics, it's actually an advantage for me. I have more area where I can be able to stand without falling over. So, not so much of how cute the heels are, but the size 9.5, is an advantage actually. Maybe not for you, but for me. So I just want to say that size does matter. At least with my shoe size, it does. Anyway, it seems that so many other situations, but like an MS warrior, I used my strengths and I ignored my weaknesses. I used my stronger than average muscles, my hamstrings, quads. That's how I manage me. But I am relieved to know that I have options, better options that are easier. Let me clarify. I said that I ignored I used my strengths and ignored my weaknesses. What I mean is I focused on my abilities. I had the ability to use, pardon me, other means of support to prevent a fall where it seemed like it was going to happen. But, I've used my stronger than average muscles to prevent a fall. So I just want to point out that, I don't ignore my MS. I mean, it's real, it's there. But I don't want to focus on the disability and all the negative things or challenges that it brings me. I like to focus on what I can do to overcome them. So I'm not looking for an easy road. I'm sure, just like most of you listeners, I do wish that there was a cure for MS, but I know there's no easy road, and I know every day it's going to be a challenge for myself, probably for you as well. I say that the roads of my MS journey are curvy. Curvy roads walking for an MS are going to be kind of cumbersome, and probably why we are more likely to fall. But what we can do is we can manage. If we need a walking aid, use it. Don't be too stubborn or too proud to not use a walking aid. Be it a cane or walker. If you have to be in a chair, that's okay as well. I look at it as well. God bless you with another day to see on earth, even if it's in a chair. So, don't think of it as the final or end all. I'm hopeful. I'm always looking. Today's good, but I know tomorrow's going to be just as good, if not better. That's my take on it all. Next week, I hope to have some updates, positive updates for you of my progress. I'm really looking forward to being able to walk a further distance without wobbling or losing my balance, and standing, sitting, standing, being able to just move fluidly, confidently, with balance. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope to let you guys know how that is. In the meantime, I want to ask you to kind of participate or join me, and I'll be journalizing my progress, and I plan to take it to my doctor, who I'll see for a follow-up visit, and I'll see him next month for my 2-month follow-up visit about the balance of walking thing and the result of my working with a therapist. So I'm asking you guys to kind of join me and track your own progress of standing and walking if you are able to. What I want to put out there is to see if you can stand up. If you can get out of your chair, wonderful, of course. If you can, see if you can stand with your feet shoulder width apart. Stand there without wobbling, without losing your balance, and to try this with your eyes open and with your eyes closed, if possible. Maybe have somebody there, preferably with you, to maybe count or time you how long you are able to achieve the task, and also to be a safety net for you. Maybe they can catch you or grab you, or if you're doing this alone, be certain that you're near something that you can confidently grab a hold of quickly, so you can stop and prevent any falling to the floor. Like I said, I'll be keeping a journal of my progress and updating you next episode. So this is Dawn Melanie. And thank you for joining me this evening again. And I hope you'll be proactive in your MS management. Thank you. Have a good night.